What if the single most powerful thing you could do for your brain, your DNA, your immune system, and your longevity costs nothing, requires no equipment, no doctor's prescription, no laboratory, and the only thing standing between you and it is the next meal you're about to eat? What if I told you that every time you sit down to eat within 2 hours of your last meal, you are actively shutting off a biological repair system so sophisticated, so precise, so powerful, that scientists spent decades trying to build a drug that could replicate it? And they failed, because evolution already perfected it inside you, and it only turns on when you stop eating? Your cells are damaged right now. Your DNA has errors. Your proteins are misfolding. Inflammation is quietly burning through your tissues, and the cure is not in any pharmacy. It is in the physics of emptiness. Fasting does not just change your metabolism. It changes your molecular architecture. It rewires your brain. It repairs your genetic code. It resets your internal clocks. It manufactures its own anti-inflammatory medicine from your own fat. The science behind this will make you question everything you were ever told about health. Stay with me, because what you're about to understand will change how you see every meal for the rest of your life. What if I told you that the most powerful repair technology ever invented doesn't exist in any laboratory, doesn't require any prescription, doesn't cost a single dollar, and you've had access to it your entire life, but nobody told you how to turn it on? Let's start with something real, something physical, something that should genuinely unsettle you. Your body right now, at this very moment, is losing. It's losing to entropy. That's not a metaphor. That is a law of physics. The second law of thermodynamics states that in any closed system, disorder increases over time. Your cells accumulate damage. Your proteins misfold. Your mitochondria degrade. Your DNA collects errors like a manuscript copied 10,000 times. This is happening to you. It is happening right now. Every second of your existence, the universe is slowly disassembling you at the molecular level. And here is what nobody tells you. The food you eat, the very thing you were told keeps you healthy, keeps you alive, keeps you strong, when consumed in excess frequency, when consumed without strategic pause, actually cooperates with entropy. It keeps your cells so busy building and growing that they never get to clean, repair, or restore. Now let's talk about what happens when you stop. When you stop eating, not forever, not dangerously, but strategically, deliberately. Something extraordinary unfolds at a scale too small to see, but too important to ignore. Your insulin levels drop. And with that drop, a molecular switch called mTOR, the master controller of cellular growth, turns off. This is critical, because mTOR is binary. When it's on, cells grow. When it's off, cells repair. You cannot do both simultaneously. The physics doesn't allow it. It's like trying to renovate a building while still operating it at full capacity. You have to shut it down to fix it properly. When mTOR switches off during fasting, your cells receive a chemical signal that triggers autophagy, a word from Greek meaning self-eating. And I want you to sit with that concept for a moment, because it is one of the most beautiful examples of intelligent design ever discovered in nature. Your cells begin consuming their own damaged components, broken proteins, dysfunctional mitochondria, misfolded molecules that were quietly accumulating, quietly causing harm. Your body disassembles them, extracts the usable parts, and rebuilds with them. This is recycling at the quantum level of life. This is your biology running a program that evolution spent billions of years perfecting, and the password to activate it is simply the absence of food. Now think about inflammation. Modern medicine has spent decades and billions of dollars trying to fight inflammation, because it sits at the root of almost every chronic disease we know. Heart disease, Alzheimer's, rheumatoid arthritis, type 2 diabetes, certain cancers. The common thread connecting all of them is a low-grade, systemic, invisible inflammatory state that never turns off. Why does it never turn off? Because of a thermodynamic principle that most doctors never explain to you. Inflammation is an energy state. It is maintained by a biochemical environment rich in glucose, rich in insulin, rich in the molecular signals of abundance. There is a structure inside your cells called the NLRP3 inflammasome. Think of it as the match that keeps the inflammatory fire burning. And here is what is remarkable. Fasting produces a molecule synthesized directly from your stored fat called beta-hydroxybutyrate, And this molecule is a direct chemical inhibitor of that inflammasome. Your body makes its own anti-inflammatory drug. It manufactures it from the fuel it was already carrying, and it can only make it in sufficient quantities when you are in a fasted state. The fire extinguisher is inside you. You just need to stop feeding the fire long enough to let it activate. Let S talk about your brain. Because the conventional wisdom here is especially wrong, and the truth is especially exciting. We were told, eat breakfast, feed your brain glucose, function at your best. And there is some truth in that, for short-term, simple cognitive tasks. But the deeper physics tells a completely different story. When you fast for 16 to 18 hours, something remarkable happens in your liver. Fat gets converted into ketone bodies, particularly beta-hydroxybutyrate, the same molecule fighting your inflammation. And when these ketones reach your brain, they don't just fuel it, they transform how it operates. Ketones produce more ATP per oxygen molecule consumed than glucose does. Your neurons become more energetically efficient. The signal clarity in your neural networks measurably improves. But there is more. Fasting dramatically elevates BDNF, brain-derived neurotrophic factor. If you want one molecule that explains neuroplasticity, learning, memory, and protection against neurodegeneration, it's this one. Fasting floods your brain with it. New neural connections form. Existing pathways strengthen. Your cognitive architecture literally upgrades itself. Think about every great philosopher, mathematician, and scientist in history who fasted before deep intellectual work. They were not being spiritual. They were, without knowing the chemistry, optimizing their neural hardware for maximum signal efficiency. They felt it intuitively. We can now explain it physically. Now, here is a layer of this story that reaches into something almost sacred, into the fundamental code of life itself. Your DNA is damaged every day. Thousands of lesions, breaks, oxidative errors, and your body has remarkable repair machinery to fix them. Enzymes with names like PARP, SIRT1, the entire nucleotide excision repair pathway. This machinery is extraordinary, but it is expensive. It requires cellular energy and molecular attention. And here is the problem. When you eat constantly, when you are always in a fed, growing, building state, your cellular energy is perpetually allocated toward digestion, storage, and growth. The repair machinery runs on a budget. It functions, but not at full capacity. Errors accumulate slightly faster than they are repaired. And over years and decades, this imbalance writes itself into your biology as accelerated aging. Fasting changes the energy allocation equation completely. When external energy stops arriving, the cell performs what you might call a triage. Growth pathways are deprioritized, and repair pathways, the DNA maintenance systems, the longevity proteins, receive full funding. SIRT1, one of the most studied longevity-associated proteins ever discovered, becomes dramatically upregulated during fasting. It activates DNA repair enzymes. It suppresses inflammatory gene expression. It essentially tells your cells, stop expanding, start fixing. You are not just managing your weight when you fast. You are running error correction on the source code of your own existence. And then there is perhaps the most underappreciated dimension of all of this in the dimension of time. Inside your cells are molecular clocks. Genes called clock and BMAL1 and PER and CRY that cycle through a precise 24-hour rhythm, governing when hormones are released, when your immune system is most active, when your cells are most primed for division or repair, when your body temperature rises and falls. This circadian rhythm is not just a sleep schedule. It is a master regulatory system that touches every aspect of your biology. Eating at random hours, snacking throughout the day, eating late at night, consuming food without temporal discipline, sends conflicting signals to every one of these clocks simultaneously. It is the biological equivalent of every clock in your house showing a different time. Your cells get confused, they desynchronize. And the consequences of that desynchronization, measurable, documented consequences, include increased cancer risk, impaired immune function, accelerated aging, and metabolic collapse. Time-restricted eating, which is simply fasting, acts as the most potent circadian synchronizer available to human biology. When you confine your eating to a consistent window aligned with daylight hours, you reset the molecular clocks across your entire body simultaneously. You're not just controlling calories, you are sending a coherent time signal to every cell. You are using the language of light and darkness and food timing to tell your body exactly where it is in the day, exactly how to allocate its resources, exactly how to prioritize its repair work. So let me bring all of this together into one simple physical truth. Your body is a system operating under the laws of thermodynamics and the rules of molecular biology. It is an extraordinarily complex, extraordinarily elegant system, one that modern civilization has accidentally broken by removing the very condition it was designed to experience. Periods of food absence. For most of human history, fasting was not a choice. It was a daily reality, and evolution, over millions of years, built powerful and sophisticated biological machinery that only activates in that fasted state. Autophagy, anti-inflammatory ketone production, enhanced DNA repair, neuroplastic brain optimization, circadian resynchronization. These are not secondary functions. They are primary maintenance programs. They are the operating system running its own updates. And the only reason they fail to run in the modern human body is that we never stop eating long enough to let the update install. The physics of fasting is not complicated once you see it clearly. Abundance blocks repair, scarcity triggers renewal, constant input prevents the system from performing maintenance, and a system that never gets maintained gradually, inevitably, catastrophically fails. Fasting is not starvation, it is not punishment, it is not a diet trend. It is the oldest repair protocol in the history of life on Earth. And you already have it. You were born with it. You just have to stop eating long enough to let your body remember how extraordinary it was always designed to be. The story we have walked through today is not really about food. It is about physics. It is about what happens when you understand that your body is not a machine that breaks down. It is a self-repairing system that was never designed to run without pause. We live in a world that tells you to eat more, eat often, eat for every emotion and every occasion. And in doing so, we have accidentally dismantled the most sophisticated biological maintenance system ever evolved. We have kept the construction crews working 24 hours a day and never once let the repair team through the door. The science is no longer speculative. Autophagy is real. A Nobel Prize confirmed it. Anti-inflammatory ketone production is documented. BDNF elevation during fasting is measurable. DNA repair upregulation through SIRT1 is established. Circadian resynchronization through time-restricted eating is proven. The evidence converges on a single, undeniable conclusion. The human body heals most powerfully in the absence of food. Entropy is always winning. Disorder is always increasing. Damage is always accumulating. But fasting hands you the only tool that locally, temporarily, powerfully pushes back against that universal tide, not through addition, not through supplementation, not through consumption, but through the radical, counterintuitive, physics-backed act of doing nothing. Stop eating for a while, and watch your body begin the most extraordinary work of its life.